3 a.m. The shriek of shattering glass tears through the silence. Your reinforced door breached. Your perimeter compromised. If you are reaching for your rifle with shaking hands, you are already a corpse. Physical defenses have a failure point. Entropy is inevitable, but the human mind, that is the battlefield where you can still dominate. Stop panicking. Stop hiding. It is time to execute the honeypot protocol. To save the kingdom, you must sacrifice the pawn. We are going to feed their greed until it chokes them. Disengage panic, target their primitive brain, hijack the chemistry. Your enemy is not a tactical genius. He is a desperate animal running on cortisol and adrenaline. He is terrified, trigger-happy, and scanning for threats. This state makes him dangerous, but it also makes him biologically programmable. You are going to hack his OODA loop. The intruder's primary drive is resource acquisition versus risk exposure. Every second he spends in your house increases his probability of death. He wants the payoff, and he wants to leave. If he finds nothing, his anxiety spikes. He tears up floorboards. He slashes mattresses. He finds you. You must prevent this escalation. Give him the win. Place the reward directly in his path. When his flashlight beam hits that decoy crate, his brain floods with dopamine. The tension breaks. This is the physiological trap. It is known as cognitive closure. The human mind despises ambiguity. The act of searching requires high energy and focus. The act of finding signals the end of the task. The moment he spots the loot, his brain sends a mission accomplished signal. He stops scanning the periphery. He stops analyzing the environment. His vision tunnels entirely onto the prize. He isn't thinking about the hidden safe behind the drywall anymore. He's thinking about escape. You aren't just giving him food. You are buying his complacency with a cheap hit of chemicals. Theory is useless without mechanics. Exploit his sloth. The biology of laziness. Humans are biologically wired to conserve calories. In a survival scenario, this instinct becomes a tyrant. An intruder does not want to work for his meal. He wants the low-hanging fruit. If he has to pry open a locked steel door or climb a rotting ladder to check an attic, he weighs the caloric cost against the potential reward. Most will choose the path of least resistance. Place the honeypot where the friction is zero. The hallway, the mudroom, the immediate line of sight from the breach point. If he has to move an obstacle to get to it, you failed. This utilizes the principle of saturation. A man has 2 hands and 1 backpack. That is his hard limit. Once those hands are full, his capacity for theft drops to 0. If you fill his pack with your decoy rice and beans immediately, he physically cannot steal your medical supplies or your ammunition. He becomes burdened. A burdened man feels vulnerable. His fight or flight response shifts entirely to flight. He wants to secure the bag and retreat. By filling his inventory with expendable mass, you protect your gold. He leaves not because he is kind, but because he is full.
Stop analyzing. Start building. The location is the weapon. Zone your defense. Do not place the bait in your kitchen. If they are in your kitchen, you have already lost control of the perimeter. You place the honeypot in the transition zone. This is the airlock between the chaos outside and your sanctuary inside. The foyer, the mudroom, the base of the stairs. You catch them before they breach the hard lines of your actual living space. Staging the narrative. Context is everything. A box sitting perfectly squarely in the center of a room is not loot. It is a trap. Even a desperate addict will hesitate. You must construct a visual narrative. The story you must sell is the panic drop. Tilt the crate on its side. Spill a handful of rice on the floor. Leave a single worn-out boot next to it. This tells the intruder a specific story. The previous occupant was packing to flee, heard a breach, dropped the load, and ran for their life. The intruder feels safe because he believes he is walking into the aftermath of a failure, not the setup of an ambush. He believes he is the predator finding carrion. Enforce visual poverty. The trap fails if the room is rich. If there are paintings on the walls or heavy coats on the rack, his greedy eye wanders. Strip the transition zone. Bare drywall, scuffed floors, dead plants. The honeypot must be the only object of color and geometric order in a chaotic, gray space. The science is the contrast effect. The human brain evaluates value relative to the immediate environment. In a room full of treasure, a box of MREs is invisible garbage. In a gutted, abandoned shell of a house, that same box is the Holy Grail. By removing all other stimuli, you force his reticular activating system, or RAS, to lock on to the bait. You dictate his focus. You control his eyes. You control his feet. The stage is set. Now, curate the payload, the Goldilocks zone. What goes inside the box? This is a precise calculation of loss. If the loot is too light, the intruder becomes suspicious. Too good to be true triggers the predator's instinct to verify. If the loot is too heavy or valuable, like gold or ammo, he pockets it instantly and continues the search because his encumbrance load hasn't been met. You need the Goldilocks zone, valuable enough to grab, heavy enough to burden, dispensable enough to lose. Calculated loss. Fill the crate with volume loot, canned vegetables, heavy wool blankets, bottles of water, rubbing alcohol. Items that possess high physical bulk but low survival density compared to your antibiotics or freeze-dried proteins. You want items that fill the cubic inches of his backpack immediately. The psychology of weight. Weight creates a psychological commitment. Once a looter has 40 pounds of gear in his pack, his mindset shifts from acquire to retain. He instinctively hunches, his mobility decreases, he feels the physical pressing of the loot against his spine. This sensation signals to his brain that the raid was successful. He will not drop 40 pounds of water to look for a micro SD card of intel he might not find. He will protect what he has physically secured. Sacrifice the C-tier supplies to protect the S-tier assets. Do not be sentimental. Losing 10 pounds of rice to save your life is not a robbery, it is a transaction fee. You are paying him to leave.
Passive defense is death. Rig the bait to talk. Analog telemetry. Information is the only currency that matters. If an intruder is in your home, you need to know his exact coordinates without exposing your position. The honeypot is not just a bribe, it is a sensor. It is a kinetic switch. Rig the box. Do not rely on electronics. EMP, battery failure, or a cut wire will blind you. Gravity never fails. Use the dead weight trigger. Take a spool of monofilament fishing line, clear, high test. Place one end underneath the bait crate. Run the line along the baseboards, under the rugs, all the way to your safe room or hideout. Tie the other end to a small bell or a tin can filled with pebbles suspended from your ceiling. The physics of theft. The mechanism is binary. The moment the looter lifts the crate to inspect it or shove it in his bag, the pressure on the washer releases. Or if you rigged it for tension, the line pulls tight. Clink. That sound is your telegram. It tells you 3 things instantly. Hostile presence confirmed. You are not imagining noises. Location locked. The target is stationary in the transition zone. Status vulnerable. His hands are occupied with the box. His center of gravity is shifted. He thinks he is stealing your lunch. In reality, he is ringing your doorbell. You're sitting in the dark, weapon ready, and he has just broadcast his exact position and intent. He creates the noise. You possess the silence. Physical control is good. Mind control is better. Poison the well. The greatest casualty in war is the truth. You don't just want the looter to leave, you want to drain him. You want to waste his time, his calories, and his hope. Turn the honeypot into a vector for disinformation, the stash B deception. Inside the crate, taped to the bottom of a can, place a folded, dirty piece of paper, hand-drawn, a rough map of the local area with a specific location circled in red ink. Label it emergency cache or dad's bunker. This operates on confirmation bias. If you posted a sign saying go away, he would ignore it. But because he found this map hidden inside a looted box, his brain validates it as high-value intelligence. He believes he has discovered a secret you tried to hide. He trusts the stolen data more than his own eyes. Remote resource depletion. The location on the map? It points to a collapsed warehouse 3 miles east, or a flooded basement, or a known hazardous zone. You are sending him on a ghost hunt. He will pack up your decoy rice, leave your house immediately, and march 3 miles to find nothing. That's 3 miles of calories burned, 3 miles of exposure to the elements. By the time he realizes the lie, he is exhausted, demoralized, and far away from your perimeter. You didn't just defend your home, you launched a counter-offensive without stepping off your porch. The honeypot is not cowardice, it is asymmetry. While the amateur barricades his door and prays, you manipulate the battlefield. You trade a can of beans for your life. You trade a lie for your security. The intruder leaves feeling like a victor, burdened with heavy trash, chasing a ghost on a fake map. He thinks he robbed you. In reality, he followed your script to the letter. You bought time. You bought silence. And in this new dark age, those are the only luxuries that truly matter. Close the breach, reset the trap, stay sharp.